Hello, everyone, and welcome in. Today is Tuesday, March 19th, and we will be taking a look at what are the energies wanting to come through for you from God, Spirit, the Divine. So, as always, take only what resonates from this and leave the rest behind, and we'll pull some cards for the collective in general, and then pull some cards individually for the sign groupings. So if you check the description box below, you'll be able to see that. And there will be some additional readings coming up since we have the eclipse, actually both of the eclipses. So there will be some special ones there. So make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to those. Also, we did have the videos posting for the second half of the month for each of the individual sign groupings, where I look at the grouping and then I pull cards individually for each zodiac sign. So comment down below, have you taken a look at those videos yet? Or is that something that you usually don't end up watching? So I'm curious as to who watches their videos for the semi-monthly reads. Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump in. So the one that jumped was the Five of Swords. Then we have King of Pentacles in reverse, Three of Cups in reverse, and Four of Swords in reverse. And actually, I feel like these cards have been coming up. I think they came up in either yesterday's reading or some of the other readings. So both of those, the Five of Cups, this is this, Five of Swords, this is this like ambitious, dishonest energy that's coming out for the collective. And this was our jumper card from when I was shuffling earlier. And then also with our Four of Swords in reverse, this is the sense of exhaustion and breakdown. And with our Three of Cups in reverse, it's like a lack of teamwork, and you're feeling lonely and kind of reclusive. So it's maybe a situation where this dishonesty has led you to just feeling like you're exhausted and betrayed, and kind of like pushing you to just take some time by yourself and just kind of disengage from the world around you. And then with your King of Pentacles in reverse, this is kind of this abuse of power, exploitative, if that's a word, energy. So it's definitely some gritty, angsty type of energy. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah. So feels like today is a hard day in terms of the collective energy, just about what all is going on out there. So let's jump in and see if we can get some clarification from God, Spirit on individual sign groupings, because this right here, this is some tough energy. So let's see. Let's start with fire signs. The Tower. Usually I don't read these in reverse. I just pull them all in the upright. But the Tower, this is something is coming down. The fact that it came out in the reverse, I would say there's also for fire signs, and remember, this is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is that something needs to go, and there's this resistance to letting it go. So in this deck, and I know I did this in my monthly read, we'll see if I can find it as I'm talking, but in this deck, when we look at the Tower, it's interesting because it's that lady sitting in that Jello mold. And when we talk about having the Tower in reverse is that sense of you're trying to delay the inevitable by holding on too tight to something that needs to go. And it's like you're resisting that positive change, like something different or better wants to come in. So yeah, so as we're looking through this, here it is. This is the card I was looking at. So this is the Tower out of this Housewives deck. And as you can see, she is in a Jello mold. And so the image that comes to mind when we're looking at the Tower, for one, it's unstable because it's Jello. When you're looking at it in the reverse, just the feasibility and the practicality of being able to hold an inverted Jello mold, it's futile. So this card coming up, whether it's in the reverse, whether it's in the upright, like with the Tower for our fire signs here, it's something needs to go, and stop resisting it, because the resistance, for one, with the board, resistance is futile, it's leading to so much of this sense of just like anger and manipulation and dishonesty, that the situation has this dishonesty, this feeling of being manipulated, this like greedy type of energy. Like that's the situation that needs to tower for you. So, and it's just creating this burnout and this exhaustion as you try to keep it upright, as you try to keep this structure upright that the universe is saying, hey, this needs to fall. So, and part of what's keeping it upright is this fear of loneliness and being on your own. Like you don't want, it's probably a relationship. You don't want it to go away because then you'll be on your own. Flame tree, the start of something new. So with this, it's, and looking at the eye here on Hugh, I think is his name, but letting it burn to the ground so that something new can rise up in its place. So that is the message there with flame tree. The start of something new is, this tree is being burned so that way something new can start in its place. Kind of like the whole thing with the phoenix. The phoenix rises from the ashes, but it has to burn first. All right. Then we have this card, worry. I'm learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. So this is the whole thing of worrying doesn't change the future. It just robs you of the present. So there's a sense of if you're running too many different scenarios in your head and well, what if I do this and then this happens? What if I do this and then this happens? You're never going to know what is actually going to happen until you step forward and make a move in that direction. So you're never going to know what that looks like. And that, as I'm looking at the blues in that worry card and the blues in the tower card, it's like that's what's keeping you from letting that tower come through. Because remember too, with the tower is almost like a phoenix card, right? Because if you want something better in your life, you have to get rid of what you don't want. So, all right, coyote, revealer of truth. Don't take things too seriously. Make time to play. Great wisdom comes from laughing at your own folly. Look out for the traps and tricks of life and learn from them. So this is the big thing, is learn from them. And some of it, especially as we talk about like your intuition and everything, there was this great book that I read, or I read part of it, 20 years ago, called The Gift of Fear. And the idea, one of the examples they use in this book, and it's intended to be like self-defense type of things for women, like how to protect yourself from certain situations. And it's listening to your intuition. And they give the example of if a deer is walking through the woods and it hears something or it smells something, it stops. You can see its ears, twitching around, trying to figure out what that is. If the deer gets a bad vibe, it backs up, it walks away, it gets itself out of the situation. The deer doesn't say, oh, I'm just being silly. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's fine. Let me just keep going. The deer will listen to its intuition. And so that's part of it here, looking out for traps, like what has happened in your past that you can learn from, and don't try to talk yourself into a different scenario. Like, oh, I'm sure, I'm sure everything's fine. If something doesn't sit well, it doesn't sit well. All right, so that was for our fire signs for our Aries, Leo, Sag. Now we are on to our earth signs, which is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. So what messages want to come through for our earth signs? The Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune is that something is destined and fated, and that there's divine timing behind everything. So this sense that you have, like, of feeling this, call it manipulation, and there's misuse of power somewhere, and this dishonest, like ruthless type of behavior, all of that is pushing you to do something. So when bad things, for soul just experiences what is. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. But, you know, for our purposes, I'll say bad things. So when bad things happen, like, you know, this ruthless energy, this misuse of power, this feeling of exhaustion, when things like that come up, they're coming up for a reason. There's some lesson that you're supposed to be learning from it. So, you know, sometimes the lesson is perseverance. But sometimes, you know, especially when there's this thread of like dishonesty and ruthlessness, like those, it's more than just, hey, you know, it's a trying time. Like that's manipulative behavior. And so when that starts to make an appearance in your life and it's leaving you exhausted, that's telling you to do something. So the Wheel of Fortune card is about, hey, this is a lesson. Like, sit up straight, listen to the lesson, and be able to move on from it and not keep looping. So your Gaia card is rising above, clarity, freedom, and solution. So don't keep yourself looping through this same cycle over and over by just saying, well, you know, I mean, it is what it is. You know, in life, if you're here to learn lessons, these lessons are coming up because there's something for you to do. So if you can rise above the situation, zoom out and say, okay, if I was watching this as a play or a movie, what is the lesson that this main character is supposed to be learning? Then sometimes it helps you see things differently. It helps you get that clarity. It helps you get that freedom from feeling like you're trapped or like you're a victim in this situation. And then you can look for the solution. Change. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. So again, something needs to change. There's a lesson that's supposed to be being learned, and are you learning it or are you looping? So even as we talk about, like, you know, with tower moments and things like that, the things need to burn to the ground. You know, the phoenix rises from the ashes. You know, in order for things to evolve and to get better, there has to be some sort of change. And it was funny that this was in a different video I was watching, and they comment about, like, when people say, oh, you're the exact same. You go for like a high school reunion or something 20, 30 years later. Oh, you haven't changed a bit. And sometimes people think that they are meaning it as a compliment, like, oh, you haven't changed a bit. And you kind of sit there and you're like, really? In 30 years, I haven't changed a bit? I don't know that that's a compliment. I would like to think that I've changed. So, you know, you'd like to think that you grow and evolve. All right. And then we have Moose, wisdom. Let your head and mind reach to the stars, yet keep your feet grounded on the earth. Listen to the ancient wisdom in your soul. The ancestors speak through you. You know much. So this is, again, about being able to connect with your intuition, connect with your guides, with your higher self, and see what is your purpose? What is your mission here? What are you here to learn? Because that's what this is. It's a classroom. So, all right. Now, so that was for our earth signs, for our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Let's take a look now for our water signs, which is our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and see what messages want to come through for water signs. Temperance. So this is about finding that balance, finding that harmony, that inner peace. So some of it, even though this has hints of like loneliness and you feel like you're a recluse, and you know, there is, you know, that balance of, okay, if this is bad, I need to pull myself out of it. I need to get myself into a different situation. So let's see what else is coming through in terms of temperance. So this is also that reminder of, if things feel like they're really out of balance, you need to do something about it. Like, you need to bring yourself up. You need to figure out, how do you rebalance this situation? And with the Libra lunar eclipse coming in less than a week now, that is all about balancing and finding that harmony and letting go of what isn't working, like what relationships, whether it's friendships, romantic relationships, family relationships, releasing the ones that the connections are not good, balanced connections and leaning into the connections that are good, that are balanced. All right, your Gaia card is liberation, breaking free from a negative attachment. So, those cards have lots and lots of similarity to them. And even looking at like the Spock ears. So this is about breaking yourself free from this, from feeling that sense of being manipulated, from somebody abusing their power and just being ruthless and kind of walking all over you. It's releasing yourself from that situation so that way you can sit in a higher vibration state more of the time. And I mean, not that you're high vibe every moment of every day, but how can you shift to being high vibe more of the time, or higher vibe when you are in good place? Adversity. I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. So a lot of times if you talk to like professional athletes or fighters and things like that, they say they learn more from their losses than they do from their wins, because you can see where is it that you need to focus more attention on. And it's interesting because even this card, I feel like the background here matches up with like the background here, because a lot of those cards are more, I'll call it stark contrast types of cards, like this. See it, just happened to pick up the death card. That it's more crisp, and versus with this one, it's like more splotchy, heathery, whatever you want to call it. But interesting that the death card came out too with that, because I just picked it up. It's not even the top card, but I guess we'll take it that maybe that was a sign that something needs to end. So some situation needs to end, whether that's also a thought pattern or a recurring belief. And maybe part of the recurring belief is that you need to stay, or that's your belief is, oh, well, I need to stay. And I guess I just need to figure out how to put on a smile and, suck it up. And that maybe that is not what you're being called to do. These cards to me are speaking together as a message that this adversity is the best way to learn. So if you're exhausted by this situation, what is it that you need to do to protect yourself from getting to that point of exhaustion? What is it that you can proactively do to keep yourself from hitting that breakdown point, from hitting that really, really stressful point? And then we have Peacock, vibrancy. You were born to shine and inspire. Practice humility to avoid jealousy. Be grateful for life, and more good things will come. Be true to yourself and recognize your brilliance. So this is the opposite push. You're sitting in this energy. You're sitting in this energy over here. But what you're really being pushed to do is to move into this peacock energy, to move into this vibrant, zest for life, energetic, beautiful energy. This is what you're being pushed and what you're being called into. But this is what you're experiencing. So how do you push yourself into this? Some of it is going to be this temperance. So some of it's going to be, insisting on more balance is part of it. Like, you need to be more balanced. Like, don't let yourself sit in this energy over here for too long, right? Let yourself, let the balance come in. So that was our message for our water signs, which was our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Now we are on to our air signs. Last but not least, air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. What wants to come through for you for today for our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius? Okay, well, I pulled two. So we have the Tower and we have Lovers. So there's going to be some big sort of change on the horizons as it relates to relationships. So if you've been sitting in this energy over here where you feel like there's this dishonesty, you feel like there's, manipulation of power, things are imbalanced, that is coming, looks like that's coming to an end. So as it relates to the Lovers card, so this is 6, in the major arcana, this is 6. So this is going to be Gemini. And, so this is the end of some cycle within the relationship. The fact that the Lover's card came out as well suggests that maybe it's not like a situation where, oh my gosh, this relationship is totally ending, but rather this imbalance is ending. And there's going to be something big and dramatic that is wrapping up here. So the Tower also came out for our fire signs. I pulled them first. So this could be a situation that you're dealing with a fire sign. So with an Aries, Leo, Sag. Sometimes when the cards are the same, when some of the messages are the same, it's like, okay, maybe there's an interconnection here between the signs. And then also the Lovers. This is a lot about communication. So Gemini is big on the communication side. So a lot of communication, and it also has to do with finding harmony and peace and having a decision to make. So our jump card here was Night Wind, Facing Fear, Subconscious Release, and Healing. So that was the card that jumped. I'll pull one as well. Oh my gosh. The cards are all jumpy. Remembrance, resurfacing of past feelings and emotions. And that could be part of what is, kind of a tower is there's things in the past that haven't been resolved that need to be looked at and, close out those old chapters in the past. If something is still hanging out there open, whether it's with a previous relationship, whether it's with this relationship, maybe the person hurt you, upset you in the past. So closing that out so that tower can fall and build something better in its place. And then we have service. I feel good when I can help others. So this is really that call to action of stepping outside of yourself. In terms of misuse of power, like how can you turn this to being, King of Pentacles in the upright, since our colors are going there, and which the King of Pentacles in the upright is that reliable, secure, stable type of energy, and you can do that through service. Let's pull one more just because seems like it's more of a relationship line, and this is almost more of a distraction. Guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. So if you're believing, and like I said, if there's past things that are coming up, past arguments that you've had, past issues that you've had in the relationship, release it, because that's not going to help you if you just keep cycling through the past. Like, go examine the past to see what your patterns are, what your trends are, what your lesson is, and then once you identify that, then love yourself in all of your spectrum, even if you consider it to be flaws, love yourself and then move on so that way you can have a brighter future, start that new path. You can build in the place of this tower something that's more stable and beautiful. Then B, community. You are a powerful creator. Your work blesses everything you touch. Be open to receiving sweetness. You are the queen of abundance. So this one goes really well with this service card. So open up your gifts, and how can you share those gifts with people around you? That will help raise your vibration. It'll also help just help you feeling more balanced, feeling like you're on mission. Because if there's the sense of, lower vibe things that are trying to push their way into your life, as you raise your vibration, the lower vibration things will naturally kind of fall by the wayside because they just energetically can't hang with you anymore. So as you lean into service and as you lean into how can you help your community and others around you, that is going to help keep you focused in a positive way. And so it's almost like some of these low vibe things just kind of bounce off of you because you're busy doing other things. So I hope you found today's message to be helpful. As always, take only what resonates and leave the rest. So as I mentioned earlier in the video as well, there's going to be some special readings for the eclipses coming up. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification if you want to be alerted about those new videos. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.